Streaming from Madison, Wisconsin and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Straight to your personal devices. Available on all major platforms and YouTube. This is the Armchair Analysts podcast. And here are your hosts, Ace and Johnny.
Happy Friday, one and all. I hope you are having a wonderful week. I know I have. I know last weekend was fantastic, and I'm here to tell the tale. Ace, my co-host, is having a grand old time over there. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Do we get a little tidbit of sneak preview of the weekend, or is that the Roundup?
Not a word. Not a word. Nope. Nothing.
Kidding.
Nothing. Not a word.
No, I'm good. I got 7 more days in this house. Or 5, I should say. Moving in on Monday to the new place, the new dig. Excited for that.
Podcast studio will be the first thing you set
surprise.
up.
Hey, I have some ideas about that, honestly, and I'm going to try to... Something won't get here that's delaying that until May, unfortunately. But I do have some plans to decorate.
So Ace is kind of alluding to something we've been talking about for a little bit, but we kind of wanted until he got his move all situated. So because he visited Wisconsin for he came out and we played some golf for our 500th download. We are going to have I'm going to go there and we're going to do a live show. Not a live show. We're going to record a show for our 1,000th download. So we'll do that next week. So we won't be releasing the episode. We're going to actually hold off. We're going to record it next weekend when I'm there, and then we'll release it probably Sunday, Monday maybe. So just be aware of that. But yeah, cool. So that's exciting. Ace is gonna start developing his podcast studio, and I'll be popping in there every once in a while and record some live sessions. That way you don't have the same backdrop for every effing episode. But
they call that adulting.
It is adulting. All right, let's get a move on here, sir. All right, Random Rant. So this is something I think we've all had experience with, and as we got older and our jobs became more, I'll say, involved, demanding, whatever you want to put. We've all been put in this position, or we put others in this position, where we go to, you're at your job, you love your job, another job comes up, you leave one job and you go to another job. What happens in that fallout after you've left, right? So are you the screwer or the screwee? Are you ditching your team while they have to wrap up loose ends on a big project, or are you the person that has to deal with all the aftermath after a person leaves, like a point person leaves for your team, so that it's something we've recently had to experience the last week or so, and it's been a real cluster, we'll say, because we talked about a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, where interdepartment communication's always been something that held at a premium. Like you really need it, but it's not a thing really. It doesn't come around too often. But this is one of those scenarios where it's very imperative that everyone's on the same page and you kind of work through what needs to be done. But I don't know. I'm just kind of curious, maybe on your perspective, because I whenever I leave a job, I make sure every single thing I have meticulous notes. I make sure everything's kind of put in place as best I can before I depart. But at the same time, maybe someone doesn't see it like that. They're like, well, he forgot all of this, idiot. It leads to a lot of tension. It leads to a lot of tension, honestly. Yeah. So I was just curious on your perspective on either way, the screw or the screwee, what your thoughts are.
I've been in both scenarios. I've been laid off before, kind of abruptly, where the team was left sort of figuring out stuff. But I've also been, on the other hand, more times than not, especially in this position where you're kind of picking up for those that have lost. So I'd prefer, frankly, to be. I don't mind cleaning up after, because I think as long as the people do their work, most of the time people do their work pretty well. So it's usually a non-issue. But yeah, when somebody's suddenly let go, it's kind of a different story.
Right? No, you're kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what the hell to do. Yeah.
What did this person do?
It's not a. It's just kind of a come to Jesus kind of moment, right? You're just kind of going through your life, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now things have changed quite a bit, but. Yeah. Nothing crazy. I don't know. It was just something that I've been batting around for the last few days, and just kind of, All right. So we do have a wee bit of news. Tee-off topic's going to be actually pretty cool. I'm going to keep that in my pocket. I'm not going to let that go yet, because I think it's actually a pretty cool topic. So, and fairly timely as well. So, regional roundup. Right now, the biggest news in Wisconsin the last week and a half was that Aaron Rodgers was hosting Jeopardy.
Who else?
Right, and this has been like a pipe dream of his, completely outside of NFL. Like he's wanted to do this. He was a contestant, and now he's a host. And it's hard to tell because Wisconsin media makes him think it makes me think it's the greatest thing ever. And then I hear people from outside Wisconsin like he's really boring and dry. But we can all agree that there's been I don't know if this is intentional or not, but there's been football/sports categories that have been entered into the nightly shows, and they've been hilarious just to see like his commentary. So like I think it was maybe 2 or 3 nights ago when we were I didn't actually watch it because I'm only 32, but I saw the clips, all the highlights and stuff, and they even said that one of the questions was like this team was known for founding a dynasty in like the
60s.
I'm trying to remember. They didn't give any clues. I don't think they gave any. I'm trying to think of what the question was specific. I don't know if they said like tundra or anything. 5 championships, or they had some sort of clue in there, and like there was just dead silence. He's like, Green Bay Packers. I think maybe he said like Northern or something, but there was something in there that might have given it away. But these people had no idea. And
Midwesterner,
yes, there it is. Okay.
Yes.
There was a qualifier in there. There was a qualifier in there, but because it doesn't matter how many championships, they needed at least something to get like a general locale. But before that, they had multiple sports questions, and just hearing the guy literally went through every single one from like least valuable to most valuable, and could not get any of them. They were all football related, and it was really rough, but it was really so that's been interesting. Also,
does he have a calling? Do you think he's got a calling?
He even said, I think he said it a couple times too about how like when football's over he'd like to do it, but I don't know. I know that he has no interest in like coaching football or anything, but
okay,
yeah. Badger news. I know that we kind of mentioned it after they got knocked out of the tournament, but I mean it's a very senior laden team. So just kind of
basketball.
But yeah, sorry, good call. But we had the point kind of come up a couple times where the COVID season doesn't count against eligibility. So even if they're a senior, they can still come back for another year if they choose. So it's kind of up in the air what would happen, and now all but one senior's kind of made their decision. Reavers was the big topic. I wasn't expecting. Nate's a very good player. He leads the team all time in blocks. A fantastic developmental player that started off in a small role and grew into a bigger role with the team. Trevor Anderson, definitely a role player. I think he got averaged 2 points a game for the season. He's transferring, and then everybody else pretty much said, "Hey, we're going to the NBA." So that was kind of interesting. So Demetric Trice, Micah Potter, Aleem Ford was the other one too. So the only one as of recording that hasn't said anything either way was Brad Davison. Interestingly enough,
my boy,
Maple Grove, Minnesota. So I wasn't expecting them to come back, but it's interesting. The article was kind of mysterious in the headline when they were just talking about they're going professional. I was like, oh, they're gonna start they're gonna be accountants. They're gonna go be I was thinking they're they're gonna use whatever their degrees for, but no, I think they're all looking. It said professional career. I don't know. I love Wisconsin basketball, but I mean they don't really pan. Other than Michael Finley, they don't really pan out in the NBA. Even Kaminsky, Decker's playing out in Europe. But yeah, Trice, Potter, and Ford, and Reavers all looking to go NBA. So that's that.
Isn't that funny? You're playing in a big time program, and yet the history is not really. I mean, that's the same with the Gophers. We've only had a handful of.
Yeah, it's like 1%. I think when I was playing high school football, there were 1% of high school players go on to play college, and then 1% of college players go on to play professional, and then 0.5% actually stay and play. It's the numbers are astronomical, and once you kind of put it into that focus, it's like, okay. It starts to make a little more sense, but
I'm not going to be a baseball star. Damn.
Yeah, I'm excited that we get the clip of the week back, but we can do maybe a little preface here. Little context.
Little context first for the
Yeah, what happened with the T-Wolves, man?
Yeah.
Other than they're getting beat by the Giannis-less Bucks right now.
we got blown out by the Nets last night.
Yeah, but that's not surprising. Everybody's
They were without Harden and Kyrie, so yeah, that is kind of surprising.
Oh.
Okay, the Wolves have agreed, or at least the current owner has agreed in principle, and signatures apparently have been crossed and dotted for a new ownership change. Alex Rodriguez and a e-commerce mogul. I think his name is Mark Laurie. I don't know if it's Lore or Laurie.
Sure.
However, Alex Rodriguez obviously being the prime focus in all of this, and Mr. Anthony Edwards, or I should say young Anthony Edwards, our number 1 draft pick, had an interesting take on the new ownership change.
I'm excited to listen to that later, Ace. I'm excited to listen to that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty intense. I mean, and I think that we were planning on talking about this next week, about teams that have moved, teams that could move. You know, getting completely new ownership and kind of cleaning house a little bit is probably a good sign that it might be time. But
and teaser, Alex Rodriguez played in Seattle for a lot of his career.
Ooh.
For a team.
Oh.
FYI.
Look at this. This is so meta. It's all tying together. The only other thing regionally that I did want to cover is how surprised I am at the Brewers start right now. Like I
have a great stat too, so go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that like we knew the defense was gonna be good. I was very confident in the bullpen. I was very confident. I think at least playing within the division, I felt pretty good about it. We haven't really seen much else. Obviously, we're still really early, but I don't know. I think just overall, I'm excited at what I'm seeing. I'm a little worried as far as depth. I mean, it's a long season. We have a full season this year. The depth, I knew that they wouldn't be scoring a ton of runs, but I mean, today's obviously they're making me eat those words. They won 7-0, but it just seems that like if I don't want to jinx it, I really don't. But if for some reason Locaine and Yelich miss significant time, which they've already missed a decent amount of the first month. I'm worried that offense just isn't going to be there. But obviously, I know nothing because they shut out the Cubbies and won 7-0. So maybe I'm full of BS. But I'm just generally I wasn't expecting a ton this year. But I mean they're 7-5. They're coming out really strong. So I'm excited.
The Twins are 5-5. Here's the best stat I heard. 5-5. We have led or been tied in every game up until the 8th inning this season. So we've had 2 blown saves already by the same guy, Colome, who we brought in this year. We've basically demoted our closer the last 4 years, Taylor Rodgers on the Twins, to like a 6th or a 7th man setup duty. Like can't even give him the 8th anymore.
Ouch.
It's just I'm a little nervous about the team offensively, and even, I mean, defense is sort of a question, but frankly, offensively, we can put up numbers if we want. It's just gonna come down when you're 5-5 and that stat you've led or been tied after the 8th. That means you're not closing games out, and that crap is that was the same issues with what we have in the playoffs. So am I optimistic? Hell no.
That's one thing that I am so excited about. I know that there was rumors about the Brewers shopping Hader, and I know that he hasn't been as dominant as he was a couple years ago, but I'm telling you, he's looking really good this season too. And it's like when it's you have a 1-2 run lead, and just having them and going out there and just getting 3 outs, man. That's all it is. It sounds so simple, yet as you mentioned, you can blow a save very easily. It takes 1 pitch, right? So just having him go in there, and it's just like you can just feel in American Family feel everyone's just so much calmer. Like at home, I was just like, like you know that he is just gonna crush it, because when he gets in the zone, it doesn't matter. You're not getting a hit. You can swing until your freaking arm falls off. It doesn't matter. Like oh my gosh, he'll throw the same pitch at you. He'll throw the same pitch at you. It doesn't even matter.
It's gotten to the point where it's valuable to have a closer now. Very valuable, because look at what we're doing. We could throw out one guy one game, and we could go through 3 closers this year potentially, and you'll have Hader, but then maybe a spot spot fill in if there's a blowout. Like they'll manage it, but still.
That's one
I'd
thing
be
too. Like
impressed.
the bullpen isn't as. I mean, obviously it's still early, but it's really hard to get a good beat on him. You know, like you got your premier pitchers that you're gonna have. You know, as your main series starters, but it's like day 2 and day 3. I'm not as excited as I was. You know. But it's still early. No. It's still early. So I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. It's nice to have baseball back. It's nice to see that our team. I mean, they at least they're not like doing really badly. So we can't be too pissy about it.
Yeah. Well, your expectations were here, and the
were
like
that's
way up high though. Which
very
is frustrating.
Good point. Very good point. But long season. We've just we barely got off the finish or the starting line. So all right, you talked about this a little bit. I'm excited because I've been wanting Seattle to get a team for a bit, and this seems like a great step forward. But let's not spoil the fun. We have a soundbite of the week. Ace put it together. I don't know. I guess it's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
But then it kind of puts into perspective how old we are. Like, how old is he? How old is this kid?
He's 19.
Exactly.
I mean, he's the first round draft pick of this year for the Wolves.
Yeah.
So, he's got to be 19.
So he was... What, 10 when A-Rod retired? Because A-Rod's been retired for a bit, right?
Yeah.
So
I still think it. Play the clip. I still think it's weird.
All right. Okay, here we go.
And we haven't gotten to chat with you since the news this weekend that Alex Rodriguez was getting ready to buy in as an owner here. Do you have any thoughts about him? Are you an A-Rod fan at all growing up or anything like that? What you think about what he might bring to the team?
Man, who is he?
The baseball player, Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I know he's gonna be the owner, but I don't know about baseball.
It's uncomfortable, really. Like
it is.
You can just feel the palpable tension from the reporter. Like I know they're not in the same room, but as soon as he said that, it's like, okay, like there's nothing else to go on. There's nothing else to say. It's like, wow, like you just feel that generational gap. It's like, if you don't know him for his achievements in baseball, you should at least have an idea that he was part of the steroid era, and he's a part of all of that. Like at the absolute minimum. Mm-hmm. But maybe I don't know, man. It's just a different era. Like, but I think we talked about this a little bit before the Wolves drafted him. Like he just doesn't seem to give a shit about a lot of stuff. So should we really be super surprised?
I like that attitude, but yeah. Well, yeah.
So I don't know. How is he even playing this year? I guess I haven't even paid attention to his T-Wolves game yet.
He's a freak athlete, obviously, but I mean, he's in the NBA, so there's a lot of those. But it's hard with our team. We have no game plan, really. It looks like offensively, and Carl Anthony seems to not care sometimes.
I mean, it's like the later years KG. It's like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like you're the lone offensive force on a team for how long? And it's just like they're not gonna put talent around you. And
K-Love, yeah,
how'd that work out? All right, so I do want to finally get to the tee-off topic. So this is something that honestly it kind of occurred to me last year, and then as we've been going on, through like the NFL season, and then we ended up we're getting ready for the draft and all that kind of stuff. We're getting into that kind of frame of mind. I'm seeing a lot of familiar last names, and it made me think there are a ton of next-gen players, and not like next-gen stats kind of crap. I'm talking literal next generation, like Frank Gore, Sr. He's been playing the NFL for 85 years, it feels like. His son is a freshman at Southern Mississippi. If Frank Gore, Sr. plays for a couple more years, he could be in the NFL with his kid. But that's
that would be amazing.
That's pretty crazy, right? But also, I mean, obviously, Antoine Winfield Jr. made quite a ruckus at the Super Bowl, with his Tyreek Hill. But like he was a very, very good player last year as well. And it's like, wow, like it doesn't feel like that long that Winfield was in the NFL,
as a rookie.
Right?
He was a rookie last year too.
He was.
Or his dad. Sorry.
But it doesn't feel like he was that far out, But going through all of these mock drafts, which I also want to mention, Rashad Bateman has been mocked to go to the Packers numerous times. Just want to say that.
Yeah, go for it.
If he torches the Vikings, that would be pretty amusing for me. But next-gen players in the NFL, Patrick Surtain, his dad played for the Dolphins for forever. Asante Samuel Jr., dad played for Pats, Eagles, assorted other teams. We already mentioned Winfield Jr.
Oakland.
Probably, yeah. He looks like an Oakland guy. Because that's where careers go to die. You have success with some franchises, and the end of your career, you go other places.
He signed one of the highest contracts. I don't know how this random stat's coming back to. He signed one of the highest contracts for Oakland, or as a cornerback when he signed with Oakland.
I bet. So that kind of got me to think, okay, so Frank Jr.'s coming up. We got like 3 or 4 in the draft coming up. And it's like, well, who else? What are the notable ones? And we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but Michael Pittman Sr. was a running back for the Bucs who had the Bucs defense not ran train on the Raiders. He had like the game of his life. Like he was a very pedestrian running back, played for the Cardinals for a number of years. Nothing crazy. Got picked up in free agency by the Bucs. They went on their run, and he had an amazing game. Okay. His son, Michael Pittman Jr., who you may know, fantasy owners, on the Colts, has been making waves. We mentioned Winfield. There's a few others that got drafted. I don't think they ever became notable. Maybe I'm dumb. John Runyon, whose name I knew the day they drafted him. Like, I know that name. They're both named the same. They're junior and senior. But John Runyon is a guard for the Packers.
You're going to kick yourself for not thinking of the Matthews. I know they're not like next gen, but
sure. Yeah.
Family lineage.
Yep. The Matthews definitely, but it's interesting to see that these guys have played for so long, and then their kids with that pedigree are going into the family biz. Like it's just for me, it kind of messes with you a little bit, but.
Oh, hey, here's another one. Manning's. So the who's the oldest Manning? His son.
Archie.
So not Eli or Peyton's. Yeah, Archie is. He's going to be playing college ball, I think, this year or something.
Arch.
So
I think his name's just Arch. Yeah.
That's one to watch out for. And McCaffrey's young. Doesn't McCaffrey have a younger brother that's pretty talented?
I'm sure. I mean, both the Vic brother. I mean, we can go into brothers all day, but I mean that's another interesting too. Like it's.
But Ed McCaffrey, his dad. So
there's a lot of lineage. It's just crazy to hear that. Like, and also again, just like with the little kid not knowing who A-Rod is, like it makes me feel old because I remember playing like NFL 2K back in the day with my Miami Dolphins franchise. And I had Patrick Surtain, and I always said his name wrong, and then I heard it in the game like, oh, it's not Surtain, and he was a shutdown cornerback. Now his kid's coming up, like that kind of stuff. That just blows my mind. The Frank Gore thing I heard earlier this year, like because Frank Gore, I mean, obviously he's been around for forever, but he had a.
Yeah.
He actually scored, and his son scored in college the same weekend, and so they made like a big deal about it in the NFL. I'm like, oh my gosh, Frank Gore's kid is going to be in the league with him because the guy is just he's never been the greatest running back, but he just doesn't get hurt. He doesn't get in trouble. Like he's just, I don't know, man. It just blew my mind. So I'm glad we got to just kind of take a peek at some other, and also the Packers. I think. There's been a few mocks where they have Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh, Jr. Okay.
Yeah, so I saw Rashad Bateman, but other people had them taking Samuel Jr. too. So I don't know. Like it's just crazy to think that it really doesn't feel that long ago. But I guess
we're like hovering right in the middle of that because Gore is what 5 years older than us, but then his son clearly is like 10 plus. It's just it's a weird time.
It is a weird time.
When's Johnny Wolf? No,
get out of here. Get out. That on that note. All right. We unfortunately don't have time for Ace's Quick Six, but it will be posted on the website for your viewing pleasure. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate y'all. Have a great week, and remember, next week it'll be a later episode, but it'll be live in Minneapolis. It's gonna be amazing. Have a great week, guys. I'm Johnny. That's Ace, and we're out.
That's the show for this week. Check out Armchair Analyst on Twitter at AA Podcasts, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If this wasn't enough, be sure to check out armchairpodcast.com for more. See you next week.